Good morning, Colonel Dare. My name is Mark C. Orgu, the editor-in-chief of Afrikanwatch Network. We are glad to be here, and we are also glad that we are here to have a conversation with you as a mentor and also as a father.
Good morning, sir. My name is Ejike Festus Nwafor. I'm a member of crew and also assistant legal advisor to Afrikanwatch Network. We are happy to have you here. Sorry, though you are the one having us. You are the one having us. We are happy to be with you here.
Good morning, sir. Daniel Njienue, Afrikanwatch Head of News and Strategies. I'm kind of happy. It's a privilege to be in your office.
My name is Mr. Ejike Shode. I'm head of graphics and printing in Afrikanwatch. I'm glad to be with you, sir.
My name is Colonel Abayomi Dare, retired. My friends call me Yomi. That's what I'm popularly known as. I'm a security consultant, primarily. And I'm also a lawyer. I'm a soldier. Yeah. And of course, you know that I'm a regular commentator on channels. I discuss national security. But as a matter of fact, I have interest in contemporary, local and international affairs. Okay? I'm a strong advocate of the rule of law. I'm a member of the World Justice Forum. And of course, I'm a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. I'm a member of the American Society of Industrial Security. I'm also a fellow of the Institute of International Security. I'm also a member of Association of Private Security Practitioners in Nigeria. In a nutshell, that's who I am. I retired from the Army as Director of Army Legal Services. I also in 2000 and in 2000 and about a couple of years back now, I went into politics too. So I was going to contest the Kogi West senatorial seat. Yes, I'm from Kogi State. So I was going to contest, but some funny things happened again. But all the same, I'm still in politics because politics is too important to be left in the hands of non-entities. You just have to contribute your quota. If we all sit back and say politics is a dirty game, which is the common saying, so who will clean it up?
Very important.
Very, very important.
In the words of Plato, when wise men, reasonable men, intelligent men shy away from politics, they are only creating a room for their inferiors to rule over them. And people like you, with your wealth of knowledge, you are the people that these seats are actually meant for, so that you can rightly use it in the best interest of the people. So I like when you use that word, that you wouldn't let non-entities take over those seats. And we shouldn't believe it's a dirty game, because it is for us to clean it up.
Absolutely.
But we are still getting there, sir. But before we get to the political aspect of your personality, we would like to know how it was for you as a young man joining the army. What was the motivation? How did you get into the army? How was it as a young officer? what were the flashpoints, the major experiences, the challenges, and then how you came out strong in all of those?
Thank you very much. I must confess to you that I have a very humble background. I'm not one of those who will sit back and pretend that, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Far from it. Life has been that of struggle. It has been struggle. Growing up, back in the days, in Lagos here, a young boy, and then before I relocated to Lokoja in Kogi State, where I happened to complete my elementary education and did my secondary education. I must also confess that I was a naughty, boy, because I did all the things that boys do. When I finished secondary school, somehow my parents were more interested in me going to the university or whatnot, but somehow the idea of joining the military came upon me and overwhelmed me. I recall the first time I sat down and wrote the exam, I was not successful. And then I recall also meeting a couple of military men back then in their beautiful uniform. I admired them. And I spoke with them that, I want to be like you. I want to join the NGA. And what I would never forget the response. They said, boy, you got to know people. So that's kind of dampened my spirit somehow. But along the line again, I saw the advertisement for admission, and I put in. And then I had just finished some, exams that I was writing into higher institution. So I went into the hall to write the Nigerian Defense Academy exam. And honestly, I was lucky, that kind of a thing where you meet familiar questions, when you have done well in an exam, nobody needs to tell you. So I recall coming out and telling people that if this exam is on merit, that I will pass. That if this exam is on merit, that I will pass. That was what I said. And lo and behold, the result came out, and I passed. So as soon as I passed the exam, then we were under Kwara. Kogi, my place was under Kwara. They hadn't sent us to Kogi then. So, and I told people, my father sent me on an errand out of town, and I bought Herald newspaper. And lo and behold, I just went here, and I just said, wow, and I just went to Kwara, under Kwara, and I saw my name. NDA 1965. Okay, that was my number in NDA back then, So, and I said, whatever it takes, this interview, I am going to make it, whatever it takes. Because then, the interview took a whole month. A whole month. I think you spend like 2 weeks for medicals. You spend another week for academics. You spend another week for physical exercise. So that was how I went. I remember taking a train from Ilorin to Kaduna back then. That was in 79. And the rest is history. I was lucky to be selected. And then I went through NDA, did 3 years in NDA. And then I got commissioned as an officer in 1982. And then my first posting was to Maiduguri. Not Maiduguri, to Unguru. Unguru is in Borno State. Those are the flashpoints now for the insurgency. But actually, I missed out. I was actually born in Maiduguri, and I speak Hausa language. So, as a young man, I went there, and that was where life started. And I recall that along the line, someone saw me and felt that I was very smart. I should, be posted to the Brigade of Guards in Lagos. So my posting came. So I left Unguru to Lagos. And I was working in the Ikeja Brigade of Guards. And then along the line, so many things happened. After the coup that brought in General Babangida, I was appointed as an ADC. I was a young man, aide-de-camp to the governor then. So life was good. Life was beautiful, and I was doing my job, I served in that capacity for 3 years. And when my boss was going to leave, the incoming military governor insisted that he should allow me work with him, to allow him settle down. So my boss called me and told me that. But I wasn't really happy because for me...
What's the name of your boss there?
Okay, my boss, I served with General Oluri. I worked with General Adetunji Oluri as his ADC. So we served together there for 3 years in Oyo State. That was before they carved out Osun State out of the old Oyo State. I think Osun State, I wish other state now. Anyway. Then when his tenure was up, a new governor was appointed, a new military governor, whose name was Colonel Shashainio Oresoya. Colonel Oresoya insisted that I should work with him. He requested from my boss. So my boss told me, and I told my boss that, I'm sorry, sir, I wasn't interested that, you've asked me to do my handing and taking over, and there to go. He said, please just work with him so that you can help him settle in. So I decided to do that. But along the line, I kept reminding myself that it's good to live when the ovation is loudest. Because I got convinced that there's no way that this man will keep me for so long. And I started getting the feelers, people saying, oh, well, choose your own man. This guy worked with your predecessor, take your own person. And a lot of people were scampering to become ADC, even some of my senior colleagues.
Yet he was insisting on you.
He said I should work with him. So, but somehow, again, I don't like to overstretch my luck. So I reasoned it. And I walked up to him and I saluted him. I said, sir, you have been a very kind person to me. Much as I would have loved to continue to work with you, I'm sorry, sir, I am no longer interested. But gentlemen, before then, when I convinced myself that I needed to move on, quietly I went to University of Ibadan to seek admission to study law. So the then Vice Chancellor, I will never forget him, a very kind man, Professor Banjo, magnanimously gave me admission. And then I got admission to study law. So that was when I came over and told my boss that I wasn't interested and I want to go. So he said, okay, I should assist in recommending people to, anyway. I think a couple of people were there, up to 3, before he finally kept one. And so I moved on. I must confess to you, gentlemen, it was quite rough. Because, life of an AD camp to a governor, and then as a student in the university. It was really rough. But I thank God that I weathered the storm. And one thing I did then was that once we were on long vacation, I hurried to Jaji, where we have our military base, to do my military courses. Because in the military, there are requisite courses that you need to do, in order to fulfill, in order to move on. So I combined both, more or less. And I was enjoying my promotion. Things were moving on. So I started my law program. It was a full-time law program. I did, law. And then I, came to Lagos for law school. I came to Lagos for law school. And then I recall I was sharing with Makodu in my office. When I came to Lagos, then my family was in Ibadan because I was an Ibadan-based person. So I just thought that I was coming to law school for 1 year. So I just needed a temporary accommodation to hang in there and do law school because I didn't get hostel accommodation. And I recall looking all over the place, no accommodation. I had to, through a friend of mine, I learned General Dare, retired General Dare, his official quarters. Some people were hanging there, coppers and all this thing. So I went to meet with him, and I pleaded with him and then he graciously gave me one room in his boys' quarters as a major. So I recall living there, and then from there I was attending law school. And I also remember him telling me that, because he helps a lot of people, that we could be up to 2-3 in a room. I said, I don't mind, sir. But luckily I had a room to myself in the boys' quarters. Along the line, the late boss, Colonel John Madaki of blessed memory, introduced me to one gentleman called Franco Conta. Franco Conta too is late. Very fantastic. He was an federal information officer. Very fantastic gentleman. So with him and one Mr. Dipo Ashafa, I was able to secure an accommodation in 1004. So that was why I moved to 1004. So from 1004, I started looking out for official accommodation within the military. And then from there, I was given an official accommodation in Ikoyi. And by the grace of God, Obasanjo introduced the monetization policy. And that's how I became a landlord in Ikoyi. So that is my humble story about being a landlord in Lagos. And I'm really grateful. About my military career, things were going well, my promotion, until I got to the rank of a colonel. I think I was promoted colonel in 2002, about 2002 or thereabout. I was promoted colonel. I was in Enugu. I was commanding the provost group in Enugu. Thereafter, I was transferred to Jos. I also commanded the provost group in Jos. Before they finally posted me back to Lagos. In 2006, I went to War College. I'm a fellow of the War College. That's the highest military institution. Then it was War College, but now they call it National Defense College. But when I attended, it was War College. And I did course 15. So I finished War College in 2007. After War College, I was appointed as Director of Army Legal Services in 2007. My office was in Bonny Camp, Lagos. And I was on that rank, hoping and waiting for my promotion to Brigadier-General, which didn't come. I don't want to bore you with the story of my, what I can call as the dark period of my military career. But the bottom line is that I felt unhappy because I was, not promoted, and I believe that I was duly qualified to be promoted. Then there was an obnoxious, I call it an obnoxious policy, because it stipulates that if you are not promoted, 3 times, then you'll be asked to retire. So I was asked to retire, and I felt that, why would I retire? Initially, my attitude was good riddance to bad rubbish. But later, I just pinched myself, and I said, why would I retire? I mean, for crying out loud, I deserve to be promoted. But I petitioned, so when I refused to retire, I was retired compulsorily. So, and I took the military up. I went to court, and God won the case for me. My retirement was declared null and void and of no effect. That was in 2014. So I was asked to be reinstated. So I was reinstated back in 2015. Yes. Unfortunately, I wasn't promoted, So because that was one of the bases, so I had to now apply for voluntary retirement. So if you add up the years of service that I'd put in, those years that I was in cut, and the years that I served before the retirement, I'd done 31 years and 10 months. So if you add up the 4 years or thereabouts, 36 years, 5 months. So so that's my length of service, But again, I give glory to God. So for me, initially, so natural, I must confess to you, I was very bitter, because the ambition of every young person that went into the military and as a regular combatant officer is to be a general, So, but again, I have to resign to faith and what you call philosophy of destiny. I have to resolve to faith and what you call philosophy of destiny.
Yeah, like you said, every young officer, his aim or vision is to become a general. Maybe by peradventure, probably a Brigadier-General, even if it's not a Major General. But you landed as a colonel due to some circumstances and some people who felt that you shouldn't be given such a promotion. Now, can you tell us, with all sense of sincerity, of people who you think might have been, who made that promotion to be denied?
You see, to err, they say, is human, and to forgive is divine. I have forgiven those people. Unfortunately, I have to come I have to grant this interview and say this just to encourage budding youths that you can still be what you want to be, irrespective of obstacles. Several times, people expect me during my interviews to take the military to the cleaners. But if you have listened to my interviews, you know I discuss national security. If you have listened to my interviews, I'm going to be the last person to do that. I cannot, because of the irresponsible and wickedness of a cabal, now disparage and condemn an institution that has built me, that has contributed so much to who I am. Because I wouldn't lie to you, God has really used the military to prepare me for life, to build me. Because everything I do, you can't take the military out of it. So I remain indebted to that institution. And I will continue, as long as I have life, to do everything to protect the military institution. The military, like I tell people, is a bastion of any democracy. So we must try to protect that institution. Whether you like it or not, there are a few bad men there. Just like in every segment of our society. But that is not enough to condemn the military. The military is beautiful. The military is good. And I look at the situation where Nigerians will appreciate the military and give the military the pride of place it deserves.
From what you said so far, you said that the military is good. But from what you said so far about you despising the military institution, you say that you are making us to understand that it's the cabals that are in the military that is making the military look as if it's bad, not the military institution itself. That the military is good on its own. So, from what you said so far about that, I want you to throw more light on that, because a lot of people in the country, especially what have happened currently in the state of nation about the so-called NSAS protests and all that, so many people have portrayed this image about the military, that the military is bad, that they're the ones that came, they keep people indiscriminately and all that. So I want you to throw more light on that aspect, because the masses, the youth need to be educated on that. They need to know what is going on, because some of them don't feel the military is good. Some of them feel the military is bad because of some of the things that have happened, and because, like you said, say the cabals are the one making it to look as if it's bad. So I wanted to throw more light on that, sir.
I'd like to make a correction here. I did not say the cabals. I said a few cabal. Okay? And in every segment of our society, whether you like it or not, there are cabals. You maybe you don't call them cabals, but they call them some names. Yes. Like in African media, the Afrikanwatch, whether you like it or not, there will be kitchen cabinet. Yes, now.
There must be people that meet before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For example, I'm the national president of my old student association. So sometimes when I want to push some things, I know who to talk to one or one before I push it to this thing. It's already done. There are some cabals are positive cabals, while some are negative. So it's the negative ones that are not healthy. And that's what we should, fight against.
Judging by how you picked your interest at Nigerian Army, how you admired the men on khaki in those days that motivated you to have that passion. If you were given the opportunity to join the army today, for example, now you have all your past experiences before you, and you now have the opportunity of joining the army, and with the current situation and the color that the Nigerian Army project today, would you in all sincerity join the Nigerian Army?
I will still join the Nigerian Army because, like I said, you can't, because of the actions or inactions of a few irresponsible people, condemn the military. There are still good men in the military. And that we are hoping that everything is a work in progress, that those bad eggs will be shown the way out and the good ones will thrive. For example, today I went out and I met a wing commander, and I was very proud of, I first met a captain, a young captain. I was very, very proud of him. And he ushered me to see his commandant, who is a wing commander, who is a lieutenant colonel equivalent. And that one too, I'm equally very, very proud of him. The captain is in the army, the wing commander is an Air Force officer. But I'm very, very proud. I prayed for them. Do you understand? So such things make you proud. There are generals that I meet today, and I'm so very proud of them.
And they were your juniors?
Of course, some probably, when I was in the military, they probably were struggling maybe as majors, if they are, or captains or something. But, but good luck to them. I'm very proud of them. So I believe the Nigerian Army is still a work in progress, and things will definitely get better.
What are the lessons for young people to learn in the area of hard work and dedication to self-development? Self-development.
The thing is, first, I will encourage every young person to arm his or herself with good education. Education is very, very important in this equation. There's a saying that having a degree might not necessarily open doors to success, but not having one shuts the door. So you need that basic education. And that is why you see people, you can see lawyers, you can see doctors keeping their certificates and then vying into some other endeavors. And they're succeeding. Because there's what you call transferred knowledge. Once you are grounded, once you have the basic knowledge, you can transfer the knowledge and apply it positively elsewhere. Okay? It happens. You see a lot of lawyers, a lot of doctors, a lot of engineers doing some other things, acquiring some. So, in other words, youths must strive to be multi-talented after education, to acquire skills. You don't stop learning. You don't stop learning. And it's also advisable to kind of look for multiple sources of income. One of the best forms of employment is self-employment, no doubt. if you can. Self-employment. It might be tough. Some days it will definitely be tough. But at the end of the day, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So, multiple source of income.
Talking about self-employment, sir, your position now as a self-employed and your position as an officer of the Nigerian Army, which would you choose over another?
Well, to God be the glory. As we speak, I have retired. Even if I stayed to be a general in the army, I would have still retired years back. So, but I won't lie, my military background has enhanced my status as a private person, as my journey through life. The journey is still on. It is not over. A lot of people look at me and tell me that I'm too young to retire, but they probably don't know my age.
So you can't really choose, because your life as a Nigerian military officer is still your life as a self-employed and as a retired, because whatever character, behavior, traits that you acquired in those days are still what you are using today. So you cannot really separate your life as a civilian and your life as a military.
No, I do. I separate it. You see, most times you hear civilians complain about, most times you hear civilians complain about military men telling them that they are bloody civilians and all these things. But I quickly jump up to say that no, because before you became a military man, you were a civilian. And once you are out of the military, of course, you become a civilian, even though you are still referred to as a retired person, you know. For me, I have my friends, my good friends around me, who majority of them are civilians. My military friends, 2 years, those of them that we went through training together. So I try to blend. To fuse it together. I know, like, the military has taught me discipline, organization. Those are the watchwords. Because I was privileged to serve in the military as a military police officer. And we wear the red beret and the white muffler. A military police officer is a custodian of military discipline. So if you, let me tell you today, if you are wronged by a soldier, you go to the military police office and make your reports. So the military police will investigate and recommend sanctions, for appropriate sanctions for that officer or soldier who has committed such infraction. So for me, it helps me a lot in my, lifestyle.
We are young people trying to grow, looking up to our personalities who have made a mark or who keep making a mark. And you are one of those, one of the brightest Nigeria soldiers who a lot of people also look up to, and believing that you don't compromise issues. Now, at this critical time of our life, where people are now beginning to realize the importance of empowering young people for them to become great like them, what are those things you may advocate for both organizations, not just the government, private individuals, to do for young people, for them to succeed in their careers?
Well, rather than rather than direct my solution or suggestion or recommendation to individuals, I would rather first address it to the government, because there's need for the government to provide basic necessities of life. Basic necessities of life. What am I talking about? We're talking about power. Because a young man probably, has gone to study in the university and is out, he has no job. He wants to set up his own little business. He needs power. He probably comes from a poor background that he cannot, afford ready-made facilities, good office, motor car, generator, and all these things. Because, of course, in this same country, we have children of privileged people who, before they come back from abroad, car is waiting for them, accommodation is waiting for them, servants are waiting for them. They're just walking. So the government must, on its own, provide the basic necessities of life. Good roads, power, medical facilities. So those things, if those things are available, you can struggle and then edge on with life. So that's the way I look at it, And of course, the privileged billionaires, the novo-rich, they can also go to communities to empower youths, set up youth centers, equip those youth centers with, power, basic tools for them to probably, give them some money, not the type of 5,000 naira government is sharing. So that's just what I say.
Why the youth should be engaged in politics?
Why what?
Why the youth should be proactively engaged in politics?
It is very, very important for the youths to be engaged in politics. To be engaged in politics not as thugs, but as positive forces. To register and to also contest for elective positions is very important. Because what we see happening is politicians using youths, and unfortunately, who are the prey, who are the victims, who are the people that they readily use? It is the youths who roam about. Most of them don't have education. And then they buy them weeds, they buy them drinks, and then, they act out of their senses. They send them on suicide missions. But that is not what we should be looking at. I think the IMSS thing has kind of thrown some lights on the happenings in our country, such that it's not going to be business as usual. It's not. It's not. On a couple of occasions, I've spoken about the need for us to embrace community policing, state policing, and the fear people, their anxieties that politicians, especially governors, will hijack them for their own personal gains. And I make quick to say that before you say Jack Robinson, 4 years will be gone. 4 years will be gone. And you'll ensure that such people don't come back. It has started happening. A typical example on the international arena is what is happening in the US. A whole president of the United States, after 4 years, they said they don't want him anymore. He's on his way out massively. So I encourage youths to participate in politics.
We know the money politics that is being played in Nigeria. We know the godfatherism politics that is being played in Nigeria. And we know that in Nigeria, our own politics, most of the times, are not usually on the candidacy of the person, but on the powers behind the person. So how can the youth break through these barriers to actively and positively participate in politics?
What I can say here is perseverance, resilience. You don't give up. When you have a dream, don't give up on your dream. Don't. You have to be faithful to your dream. Because on the road to success, there are too many obstacles, too many distractions, but you have to remain focused. You have to set your goal, and you have to march on your goal. So youths must determine to give it a shot. Here we are. Are we not all proud? A certain Nigerian, in the 200 and almost 250 years of the existence of American history, in Nigeria, the youth is 39. He's not even 40. Has been appointed. In the U.S. In Biden's, yes. So that's a great one. So I can see youths going places.
It's also happening in the UK. A man was recently appointed attorney.
Yes.
In Alberta, Canada.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of sunlight in the horizon. So we got to move on with our dream.